Argentina has been facing crisis after crisis in the last decades, but in the last few years, things got really ugly. Inflation closed 2023 at more than 200%, and the majority of the population, 57% of it to be exact, is in poverty. But things can change for the better, as I will explain in this video, and in the end, I'm going to also share with you how to profit from Argentina's eventual future economic success. So if you like this kind of content, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Now, as everybody's seeing on the media, the Argentine government changed completely with Milei's arrival. He's doing everything he can to cut expenses and to reduce public deficit. Now, why is he doing so? Because if you control your spending, you may reach a budget surplus. And well, you don't need to print money when your accounts are positive. And in case you don't know, Argentina's spending was so enormous that their money printing machines were simply not getting the job done, to the point in which the government had to start importing worthless banknotes from abroad, from countries like Brazil, France, and Malta, at a cost of millions of dollars to pay for its bills. Unbelievable, right? So Milei has been on this crusade, reducing the size of the government, cutting back subsidies, and shutting down state institutions. Actually, Milei cut the number of ministries by half, from 18 to 9, and most recently just fired 15,000 public employees. And this is just the beginning, as he plans to fire 70,000 people by the end of this year. And I know this sounds bad. I mean, of course, the economy will get worse if people lose their jobs. But what you need to understand is that a lot of these public employees, most of the time, are simply not needed. If you live in a country, like I do, with a swollen state, you know that most public institutions are far from efficient, and that these jobs are offered to boost political support, but at the expense of the population, who pays for everything through taxes and inflation. And though Milei has been in office for a little more than 4 months, he's been delivering some quite impressive results. For example, Argentina is registering their first months of financial surplus since August 2012. The country's risk, measured by its credit default swap, is also falling, together with bond yields. Besides, Argentina's stock exchange has also been recovering, and all of this reflects a stronger investor confidence in the country. Now, of course, Milei's reforms may not go forward. Of course, there's the risk that he may fail. After all, he has very little legislative support, and until now, his economic shock therapy has been executed by decree. But even though his policies have been very painful for the population, he's still being backed by the public, especially because the alternative would be to return to Peronism, to the same old policies that impoverished Argentina in the first place. So, no thanks. The question is, what happens if he succeeds? Let's remember that Argentina was one of the richest countries in the world in the beginning of the last century. People used to say, oh, that guy is rich like an Argentine. And Argentina has a lot of potential. It's a country full of natural resources and with around 45 million people. Besides, it is not suffering the same demographical problems as Germany, South Korea, and pretty much all developed countries, which are seeing a rapid aging of their population. So there's plenty of workforce there, and I really can see them becoming one of the main American powerhouses in a not too distant future. But okay, what do I think will happen? Well, I honestly think Milei will be successful on his mission of putting Argentina back on track on a virtuous cycle. Milei is opening the country and lifting price controls, which will ultimately stimulate the markets. Besides, he has already shown his commitment to delivering a positive fiscal result, which will tame inflation. After all, inflation is the symptom of public deficit. And as Argentina becomes less risky, eventually we will see interest rates falling. Actually, they are already falling, which will stimulate the economy even more. In other words, Argentina may be entering in a period of economic boom. And how can we profit from it? Well, through stocks. But before I reveal the names of the companies I am considering investing, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And also, if you know these companies, please share your thoughts with us down the comments. Alright, so the first stock I am considering, I am studying, is called Pampa Energia, ticker symbol PAM, PAM, which is a $3.2 billion market cap company. Pampa operates in the oil and gas sector as well as in the petrochemical and energy sectors. It's the largest independent and fully integrated electricity company in Argentina, and in the power generation segment, Pampa holds 15% of the country's market share. They have 3 hydro plants, 9 thermal plants, and 4 wind farms. Besides, Pampa Energia also owns a good portion of TGS, Transportadora de Gas del Sur, also listed in the US, which is the largest gas transportation company, not just in Argentina, where it transports more than 60% of the country's natural gas, but in the whole Latin America. And it doesn't end here because Pampa Energia also owns 26.3% of Transener, which operates the largest voltage grid in Argentina. So Pampa Energia is a pretty important company that has everything to perform in a good economic environment. It operates with a healthy debt level, around 1 times net debt to EBITDA, and trades for 1.3 times equity value and for 1.7 times revenues. It's a profitable company with good margins. Besides, the management owns 25% of the company, which shows they have skin in the game. Now, the second investment idea I am considering, and let's remember, this is not investment advice, but the second Argentine stock for today is called Loma Negra, ticker symbol LOMA, which has a market cap of around $1 billion. Loma Negra is a pretty old company with more than 90 years old, which has gone through a lot in Argentina. It is the main cement producer in Argentina with 45% market share. They have a vast distribution network, including 3,100 kilometers of railway concessions, and recently Loma Negra increased its production capacity by investing in a new plant, in a way that it can now meet growing demand without big capex requirements. Loma Negra has tremendous upside if inflation gets tamed and if interest rates keep falling, because let's keep in mind that there is no leverage in the Argentine system. There is no mortgage markets, which have been shut down since 2018. So, if the Argentine people recover access to capital markets, this can trigger a boom in housing and in construction, which means more cement consumption. Loma Negra is a capital-intensive business, which is not the kind of business I prefer. But anyway, if in the long term Argentina recovers, Loma may be a very good place to be positioned. Now, as they report their numbers in pesos, I've been having some difficulties understanding Loma's financial data because of the distortion inflation causes on the numbers. But as far as I understood, Loma Negra has a good profitability history. It's an unlevered company that generates cash and which has also been paying lots of dividends. So an interesting idea worth keeping an eye on. So that's it for today. See you next time.